Ah, a new neighbor. I was becoming bored down here.
Magus, you must help me. I have a few documents here that I can't read.
Quick, let's see. Cryptographo. Interesting. Nandurian with a Proto-Alhanian key. Interspherical nomenclature. Somebody seems to place a lot of emphasis on celestial bodies.
Nanduria. That's the secret language of the Magi. It was developed by Rohal the Wise, the Demon Master's brother.
Precisely. Magi use it in order to protect their knowledge against plagiarism, completely anachronistic, and then the protective spell on the document. Really, no one is as paranoid as the Borberadians. The owner has gone to great lengths to protect their secrecy, yet it's only about summoning a demon, an everyday occurrence in this area.
What is it?
The document describes the last part of a highly potent Heshtot summoning at a certain time in a certain place.
So it's against a demon. Any advice, Magus?
Demons are summoned from the 7th sphere. Naturally, they seek the destruction of all order. In addition to the powerful archdemons, the adversaries of the 12 gods, there are also the horned and lower demons who serve them.
All I know is that you can be happy if you don't run into them. Without a magic weapon, you don't have a chance.
In principle, yes, but as far as the magic weapon is concerned, don't worry about that.
My magical powers? They can hurt demons?
Correct. You have a demonic aura. A demonic aura? How delightful.
What do you mean? I'm not a Pactira.
That is none of my concern. What you do with your soul is your private affair.
It takes 4 different invocations to summon a single Heshtot demon? I thought they were Blackaraz's weakest servants.
Yes, your common Heshtot is of a rather inferior nature, but the Archdemon of Vengeance rules over a vast horde, and the realm of demons is, as everyone knows, chaos. Every phenotype is unique.
And this Heshtot is different than those normally encountered in the Shadowlands.
Is the astral weight of an imp 58.9?
There will be a last part? The summoning is so powerful that it's done in several parts?
It says, "Sacrifice as ye mote 3 things to win mighty Blackaraz to thy cause. Ad primo, a golden amber which doth shine like the very sun itself. Ad secundo, a sword used in the cause of justice. Ad tertio, give unto Blackaraz the hand of a man out of the law. By thine art, take care that the parts are ensconced in 3 places west of the 4th, and so may you now call forth the most powerful of the Heshtotim at your 4th place, the place the stars have shown you." No doubt, the 3 preparatory invocations lay the groundwork for the main ritual. At the right time, it will engender powerful effects. Very powerful effects.
I've talked to Borberad's Council of the Dead about my magical powers, but the answers were very puzzling.
The council answered you? That is truly astounding. Then your patron seems to be even more powerful than I originally believed.
I don't know about any patrons. All I know is that the Borberadians have always been enemies, from which we had to hide.
Interesting. Why? I mean, you don't act like you were following this paradoxical, myopic view of the world. Not at all. Our good Chiron exhibits an impressively open mind.
That's really strange, though. The Borberadians are a church. Normally they should be seeking new followers, not hunting people indiscriminately.
Well, next time you run into a Borberadian, have him analyze you. He may be able to determine more than I did.
Wait a minute. You've already analyzed me?
Purely routine, something Borberadian demonic, too complex without fundamental analysis, a bare minimum of 2 moons research time. I'm sorry.
But who exactly was this Borberad the Borberadians all worship?
Borberad is a demigod, to be precise, a quarter god, the son of the demigod Nandus. He is considered the Alvarania of forbidden knowledge. He has wandered our world for centuries in many incarnations in his fight against his twin Rohal. His last incarnation brought about the Darklands.
This means that the Church of Borberad is a normal church.
Not quite. 13 years ago, Borberad was condemned by all 12 divine churches. I thought that a bit excessive at the time, at least until I arrived in the Darklands myself. In any case, Borberadians use their blood to perform magic. They summon demons, and their church preaches freedom while enslaving all those weaker than they. A bit hypocritical, you have to admit.
Where and when is this incantation supposed to take place? The one summoning this demon?
In the market, when the constellation is favorable. Like now, for example. Now? Naturally not right in the middle of the marketplace. The necromancer will be hiding somewhere. But the odds are good that this most formidable Heshtot will appear directly in the middle of the market. Ley line magic. Not that important.
If it's that powerful, it will destroy half the city. We need to warn the Warunkians immediately. Perel, you have to negotiate with Fergalosh, a truce at least. If the Guard and the cartel don't work together, Warunk is lost.
It's true. A new attack on the city won't help anyone. I will negotiate with the sergeant. Just don't think that this makes us friends again. I'm doing this for Warunk and for the Clover.
Fighters and barricades, then we'll see about the rest. Get your things out of here, now! Hurry, it won't be much longer.
Dear friends, it has pleased the divine lioness, to put us to the test this day. And I say, we did well. This villain here, this fiend, sought to use his dark magic to once again unleash the forces of the Nether Hells against our fair city. But by joining forces, we were able to prevent that from coming to pass, thanks to your bravery, thanks to the Lion Goddess. Dear friends, this rogue will receive his just punishment. But today is not a day of wrath. Today should be a day of joy, a day which Warunk shall long remember, a day of faith. And this very day I too shall celebrate the faith. Warunkians, in honor of your bravery and courage, will I this day take the beautiful Calandra as my wife.
What is this? What's going on here?
Azariel.
I was afraid you'd never figure it out.
No wedding.
A joining in the Master's name, surrounded by his servants. Nothing new to you.
Calandra, I will be right with you!
Don't do it! You're playing right into her hands!
My compliments, by the way. Your education has been exemplary. I've almost convinced her.
Calandra, whatever she offers you, don't accept!
And she's even a virgin. Too bad I can't use that anymore. The awakening has already begun.
You filthy demon whore! Keep your hands off her!
Maybe I'll give her to Falk, as a little incentive. He can't always fail the way he did in the Prior's Temple.
Enough said! To the Nether Hells with you!
I'll do it! But please let them live.
You will not regret it, child. Just say the words.
From this day on, will blood wake blood.
You don't know what you're doing, Calandra!
Silence, cripple!
So Borbarat, take my soul. May it rest gently in your hands.
You take my soul! Let them go!
Dear Chiron, your soul is worth less than hers. Go on, Calandra.
Freedom through pain, power through will. Every human, a mage.
Excellent. Simply excellent.
You promised!
Of course, my child. Your loved ones are safe. So now we can both begin your journey of discovery and knowledge.
But the wedding, Mother? What shall I tell the Warunkians? And the Rondrians?
You do not have your gift under control. You have shed Calandra's blood. Your necromancer did not finish his work. You had your chance and you failed.
She will never obey you, Azrael. She is smarter than I was then.
Folk, lock these two up. Your life depends on their safety.
I'll find you, Azrael.
I can't wait, my dear Chiron. I can't wait.
No more secrets.
You're right. You were right from the start. I'm sorry, Chiron. So, ask.
Who is Azrael?
Azrael, High Prophetess of Borbarad, the Demon Master. She is the head of the Church of Borbarad.
What does she want from us? Why did she kidnap Calandra, and what do you have to do with it?
You know we spent all those years fleeing through the Shadowlands, from one hiding place to another, constantly in fear of the Borbaradians. We weren't randomly pursued, Chiron. We fled Azrael's minions, who were out to capture us, me and the two of you.
All those years? Why?
To get revenge. Before you were born, I was a Borbaradian myself. I served Azrael with all my... I was her loyal servant. But then I betrayed her. Betrayed and robbed her.
Why?
For Calandra and for you.
All this effort, the wedding, the infiltration of Rondrians, all because of Calandra?
Chiron, Calandra is not just anyone. You're not just anyone either.
What do you mean?
Azrael chose you both. You and 5 other children. You 7 were not born like other children. You came into the world as part of a ritual in which Azrael summoned a powerful demon. This demon was to provide you with vast powers from the nether hells. Azrael spoke of the gifts. How successful the ritual was, I don't know. I just know that I couldn't watch Azrael surrender 7 newborns to some demon at the cost of their mothers' lives.
And next you're going to tell me that these other 5 children are my siblings too. Septuplets, all born on the same day from the same mother.
Chiron, Calandra is not your sister.
I have a few more questions. Tell me more about my birth.
The ritual lasted for several hours. I had to wait until the Borbaradians had used all of their magical powers. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had a chance.
Did you see the demon?
Yes. That was the moment I knew I had to act. I lifted Calandra out of the summoning circle and took her hostage. Calandra's death would have caused the ritual to fail completely. With my knife at Calandra's throat, I forced Azrael to free your mother. You were not born yet. Azrael's astral energy was exhausted as well. She raged, but had to let us go. I fled south with you, away from the massives of the Black Sickle. Your mother was very weak. You were born on the wall of death. But your mother died in childbirth. So there I stood with 2 children in my arms, and I finally had a purpose.
Why didn't you say anything all those years? Why did you say we were siblings?
No blood shed, no blood mixed. This is family. I've hammered that into you, because I still don't know exactly what that ritual did to you. But I did find out that your blood shouldn't be mixed, because that would awaken the demonic gifts you carry within you. That goes for you and all the other children who were born during the ritual.
So that's why you always kept us away from other people's children. You were afraid they too might have these gifts.
And that's why I also forbade you from healing one another. If your blood had mixed, the consequences would have been incalculable.
We have mixed our blood.
I know. Otherwise you wouldn't have been able to defeat that Heshtot in the market. The power of the gifts has awakened, and we do not know what effects they will have.
Did you want to marry Calandra off to separate her from me?
I did. I hoped that your gifts would never wake up if you were separated. Azrael stated repeatedly that the gifts strove together. I was sure from the start that this would confuse the feelings of those bearing the gifts. I've also seen the way Calandra has looked at you the last few moons. You are no longer children. It was only a matter of time before you... Well, you know.
And that's why the lie about us being siblings. You didn't just want to prevent us from mixing our blood.
Even kissing could have been dangerous.
And a heroic Rondrian bridegroom could have held Calandra in check if necessary, even with her powerful demonic gifts.
At least he could have saved her soul if she were to succumb to demonic temptation.
And what was supposed to happen after the wedding?
Sooner or later, the church would have sent Falk somewhere else. Calandra would have gone with him.
And I would have stayed in Wurrunk and protected you from Azaril's revenge for the rest of my life. That was your plan, wasn't it?
I wanted to save your souls. I can only hope that you will understand that one day.
Why did she claim to be Falk's mother?
As a disguise, I suppose. She couldn't fool all Wurrunk with magic the way she deceived me.
She had him call her mother and used a hand mask. That can hardly be called a disguise. There must be more to it than that.
Maybe she really wanted to be Falk's mother. Don't be fooled by her behavior in the temple. If that woman can really feel some kind of love, then she will show it in very strange ways.
You were a Borberadian yourself. Can't you do magic?
No. But even if I could, I wouldn't do it. Borberadians pledged their souls to learn the secrets of blood magic. I wasn't ready for that. Azaril thought my faith wasn't strong enough. She was right. It wasn't faith that led me to the Borberadians.
Then what was it?
Don't make me talk about it. It's not important to you.
You lied to me all my life. Why should I believe you?
Please.
You stubborn old fool. Fine, have it your way.
Thank you, Chiron.
Tell me more about Azaril.
She is the head of the Church of Borberad. Clever. Vile. Very, very powerful. They say no one knows the teachings of the Demon Master better than she. She has a network of cultists and agents throughout the Shadowlands, and probably beyond.
I can't believe that a mage that powerful was unable to capture a man and 2 children in 20 years.
I was vain enough to believe that my skills and some luck saved us time and again. Once the 2 of you could fight, it got easier. But Azaril was just waiting for the right moment to capture Calandra.
I thought the hunchback Ziran was the head of the Church of Borberad.
He was. He called himself Portifex Maximus and ruled out of Ilsa until he was overthrown and his invincible legion of Yak Monith was destroyed. Azaril seized the opportunity to take his place.
Portifex Maximus, the greatest gatekeeper. Peculiar title.
As peculiar as the rest of the religion. Its offices were bought with gold. Its believers were nothing more than decadent, power-hungry blood mages. The title Gatekeeper is probably an allusion to the Dark Gates, Limbus Gates through which demons can be summoned.
Damned Rondrians! I told you right from the start they weren't to be trusted.
The Rondrians are honorable warriors. It's just that with Falk they have the wrong man in charge, while Metropolitan Yakon is away from Wurrunk. But it would be wrong to underestimate Azaril. She wanted Calandra to be with Falk and in her sphere of influence. That's why she was pushing the wedding.
They've betrayed us. Falk never really wanted to marry Calandra. The whole thing was just a plot to deliver Calandra to Azaril.
But how could she have planned on your gifts awakening right at this moment? Why the old Rondra temple of all places? And why all the effort to summon the Heshtot?
If Falk is a tool of the Borberadian Church, he could increase their influence in Wurrunk, and that from behind the mask of a Rondrian.
I don't think Azaril is planning a violent coup. That's not her style. It would be more subtle. Find herself innocent aides who don't even suspect whom they're really serving.
The wedding of a senior Rondrian as a symbol for the masses, and in the old Rondra temple of all places. It was used as a necromantic brothel during the occupation.
Powerful symbols and bitter irony. That's Azaril's way.
Of course! The necromancer was also working for Azrael.
The attack on the refugee camp as a distraction to get all the Rondrians to look for the culprit there. That gave the necromancer enough time for the great summoning in the marketplace.
And Falk was to defeat the Heshtot to reap the glory and pull the Warunkians completely over to his side.
So that's why Falk sent you in to face the necromancer in the Prios temple. He wanted to get rid of you because he didn't think you stood a chance against the necromancer. The necromancer as sacrificial lamb. And with the Warunkian support, it would have been easy for Falk to dethrone Metropolitan Yakon upon his return.
And when I defeated the Heshtot, he had to deliver the necromancer to the Warunkians to reap at least a little glory. How could the Rondrians fall for Falk? How could they give an agent of Azrael so much power?
Falk is supported by those Rondrians for whom something other than just their honor counts. Those who don't despise the Warunkians for what they did during the necromancer occupation.
And who did not die for their honor. Hell, the Warunkians had to survive somehow.
True enough. Even Yakon, the leader of the Rondrians, is likely to see that. But he evidently fears that the Warunkians will succumb to demonic temptations too lightly if not led by an iron fist. And Falk is using this dispute to his advantage. He has the more forgiving Rondrians on his side, and with them the Warunkians who don't want to blame themselves. Falk played his part well. And there's no doubt about his fighting ability. Why should the Rondrians distrust someone who fought side by side with them?
It's strange that the Warunkians were so easily sucked in by Falk. He's really not your typical Rondrian.
The Rondrians here are little better off than the refugees. The Warunkians don't love them, but they can't oppose them either. After all, they liberated the city from the necromancers. When the necromancers ruled here, the Warunkians did many things for which they would have been burnt at the stake anywhere outside the Shadowlands. Treason, denunciation, demon worship. Damn. Some even sold their dead relatives so that they could fight for the necromancers as undead soldiers.
Not to forget those who used both dead and undead for their art. From the bone carvers to the pimps, they all had customers.
I do not know how we would have behaved. For my part, I wouldn't want to hear any occupying forces telling me that everything I had done over the past few decades was all wrong and that I should have spent my life in atonement.
Whatever. We shouldn't just wait for someone to come and pick us up. Falk thinks he has won and Calandra is in Azrael's power.
Our guard is a young Rondrian. I'm sure he doesn't know what went on in the temple, and I don't think he's one of Azrael's followers either.
More likely a useful idiot who believes Falk. Maybe I can appeal to his honor and get him to make a mistake. But maybe I should find a weapon first. Good. I will find a way out. Now wait here. That thing wouldn't even scare a toothless granny. Not with that. Keep looking. Finally! This'll help me smash his teeth out. Psst, listen to me.
I'm not going to talk to you, wretch.
I know. You have to follow Falk's orders, and he's a great hero who helped free Warunk. But isn't it strange that there isn't one single heroic legend about so mighty a warrior? Do you know what he did to become Yakon's deputy?
I fought beside him. He fought on the right side. His past does not interest me.
Do you know his mother? She's an elf, but he doesn't have pointy ears. Why doesn't he explain that?
Maybe he has concealed something from his past. But orders are orders.
You've had history lessons, right? How often do you think commands have been wrong? How often has your church gone astray? When the Rondrian Holy Order of the Theatre took the Alhanians' land and forced their descendants to roam the land forever, was that fair? Or Rondra's son, Cruel Core, in every war, torture, rape, and pillage in his name, are those honorable deeds? Or all the innocent scientists whom you prohibit free speech on pain of death? Do you really think that's good? Your Rondra is a war demon in disguise, and all the pomp with which you worship her is nothing more than a hypocritical excuse for your cruelty.
That is blasphemy. I will no longer tolerate your dragging Rondra's good name through the dirt.
Oh, we're getting braver. Come on, kill a defenseless prisoner. That's sure to please your goddess.
Don't think you'll escape your just punishment that way. Here, take this sword. And now, defend yourself.
Chiron. At last.
Oh, the best part is about to begin. I don't want to be late.
I know. We both had to wait far too long for this. You are strong. Your gift is powerful. If the circumstances were different, you could have been the last one standing. But your path ends here. Any last words before we begin? A little greeting for Calandra, perhaps? When I see her again, I could always shove a little souvenir into her mouth. Your fingers, for example. Your tongue.
Where has she taken her? Answer me, and I'll give you an hour's head start.
I'm so sorry. I don't answer the defeated. Men, take him! You useless klutz!
Brother, listen to me.
Tell me where Calandra is.
You will find one another. Your gifts will guide you. Gamak awaits you. He cannot be the last. Do you hear me? Brother, be the strongest of the awakened. Prove the worth of our sacrifice.
An answer, folk! I need an answer!
My gift. It cries out to you. The beginning of the eternal struggle.
Folk! Where should I go?
Combat awaits you. He cannot be the last. Not combat.
Folk betrayed us. The documents you produced prove that. And the same applies to those who fought at his side. They followed the wrong path. They had to be punished.
It was an honor, Metropolitan.
Falk hoped that his lax morals would bring him enough popularity amongst the people to allow him to divide the Lioness's servants and lay hands on my office. You prevented that from coming to pass. I'll see that you're rewarded. Warren should know that the Metropolitan provides for those who serve Rondra justly.
Thank you, Your Reverence.
The Church of Rondra shares in the loss of your sister, Chiron, and yet I must ask you for your help. We now know that Falk served the unholy Azarel Crimsonweed, but the writings he left behind point the way to a man he called his brother.
Gamut. Falk spoke of him.
That's right. The mysterious man who once led the sick from Warrank. They moved up to Clawmore. Now we have to fear for their souls.
So I'm supposed to follow the sick and save their souls. I just got out of the refugee camp. I'm lucky not to have caught the plague myself.
I cannot spare a single man until I've assured myself of their loyalty. I will conduct investigations and determine consequences. And since you have to face this on your own, I will now give you Rondra's blessing. For, as your soul is pure and God-fearing, the power of the Lioness will protect you, Chiron.
Too kind, Your Reverence, yet this is perhaps too much of an honor.
Credit where credit is due. You will receive Rondra's blessing.
Chiron.
What happened?
Consecrated ground. The Metropolitan's blessing. Rondra's presence does you harm. The goddess of war has rejected you.
I'm not a Pactera, Father. I never sold my soul.
I know, but your gift is demonic in origin. You use their power. That makes you an enemy of the 12 gods.
And yet I'm still alive.
I brought you out of the temple. The Rondrians were suspicious, but I guess they wanted to believe my lies.
What's the story on this Gamut? Falk's letters didn't say much about him.
People say he was a muddle-headed preacher who led the sick from the city a few moons ago with promises of salvation. Falk's letters suggest that the plague victims' exodus ended in the Clawmore in a village called Farnfield. He and Gamut seem to have known one another.
The Clawmore. Wasn't there supposed to have been a huge Alhanian ritual site there at one time?
The Alhani originally founded Warrank and ruled pretty much this whole area. So you should definitely find some Alhanian ruins there. If they really did have a ritual site in the Clawmore, it must have been very powerful. You still hear truly wondrous things about their mages today.
Why did so many of the sick follow him?
Gamut seems to have had some kind of healing artifact. He promised to heal all those who followed him.
And the authorities allowed this heresy because they were happy that the source of the plague was removing itself.
Possibly. Rika from the refugee camp may know something about the Clawmore. Apparently, her lover went with Gamut.
What happened while I was unconscious?
With Falk's death, there is no longer a plague bailiff to ensure order in the refugee camp. I can't see Margrave Sumadan trusting another Rondrian with it. They're concerned with themselves at the moment. Yakon is checking his men thoroughly. Looks like there will be some duels of atonement soon.
What happened to Magus Theodore? Is he free again? After all, he helped save the city.
I saw him walking around freely. But only briefly, and then he was arrested by the guards. Seems he talked too loud again.
Of course. What else?
The Margrave was here. He didn't want to wake you, though.
We know that Folk wanted to become popular in Warunk by supporting the more tolerant Rondrians. But would that really have been enough to overthrow the Metropolitan?
The necromancer in the brothel, the marriage in the old Rondra temple, the great understanding for the Warunkians' actions during the occupation, those were all symbols for the people.
Folk was supposed to prepare the ground for Azaril's religion. Freedom through pain, power through will, every human a mage. It's the kind of thing that appeals to people who have to justify themselves all the time.
The summonings were supposed to escalate the whole thing. Folk would have presented the people the culprit, and Metropolitan Yakon would have been accused of abandoning the city in its time of need.
Everything would have come down to a duel with the Metropolitan. With his gift and Azaril's magical support, Folk would have won and taken Yakon's place. Calandra isn't my sister. That much I understand. But tell me again why you took us on as children, and why we had to flee for all those years.
Azaril, High Prophetess of the Church of Borberad, gave 7 children demonic powers at their birth. You and Calandra were 2 of the 7 awakened. I was serving Azaril at the time, and I couldn't watch her sacrifice your mothers and your souls to the demon. I interrupted the ritual. I kidnapped you both, and hoped that the demonic gifts would wither. But that didn't happen. Your gifts awaken when your blood mixed.
Azaril wanted Calandra to join the Borberad Church from the very beginning. The wedding was only a trap to force Calandra to swear an oath. But then why did Azaril and Folk make so much of a fuss about the wedding, if they wanted to kidnap Calandra and imprison us anyway?
Azaril probably originally wanted to seduce Calandra over to the Borberad Church in a gentle manner. Trapped in an unhappy marriage with Folk, it would have been easy for her to win Calandra's friendship. Azaril has her own view of freedom and free will. She may have wanted Calandra to join by her own choice. A few moons after the wedding, Azaril would have had 2 powerful agents in Warunk. They would have secretly used Folk's power over the Rondrians for their plans. Your victories over Folk and his necromancer sped things up. Azaril had to respond. She could also have decided just when to awaken Calandra's gift, at least if she had had Folk under better control. He, too, was one of those children, and could have awakened Calandra's gift as well as you.
By beating, for example. Damn, I don't want to imagine anything else. Calandra and I have been able to do magic ever since our blood mixed. My power grew when I killed Folk. It was as if something had passed from him to me.
Azaril once said the 7 gifts would seek one another out when their bearers awoke. It's demonic power that works according to Borberadian rules. Blood magic. You work magic with the essence of those you hurt.
But our souls, and those of the other awakened.
I don't know, Chiron. But your blackout in the Rondra temple could be bad news.
That my soul is damned.
Maybe not. You can only enter pacts with demons of your own free will. As long as you do not do so, there is still hope. Maybe even for those whose gift has been transferred to you. But the more you give yourself to your gift, the more power the demon may have over you, and perhaps Azaril as well.
It's almost funny. Rondra's power drops me in my tracks, and at the same time, the head Rondrian gives me an assignment.
You're the only one Yakon can trust now. He's taking the opportunity to learn something about the sick and Folk's allies. Maybe he saw you fighting and became suspicious. Your gift isn't all that unobtrusive, and as long as he can't be sure of his own people, your power represents a risk.
Well, he's lucky that this Gamad is my only trace to Calandra. Otherwise, I could get some stupid ideas.
Good luck in the Clawmore, Chiron. Let me know if I can help, and get in touch when you're back.
Those assholes in the guard slaughtered everyone who wanted to get the food from the armory and spread it around.
Those assholes in the guard want to spread it around dirt down here or down.
Greetings, Kyron. Nice to see you again.
Another blow
Greetings,
has been
Rika. You
struck
mentioned your
against
beloved
the
Rio,
darkness.
didn't you?
Even for the
Could be.
fallen women.
Why'd you ask?
Yeah, there is
Have
hope.
you seen him?
Even
No, but I'll be
those who
leaving
once
for
sold
Clormor
their
soon to
bodies
find Gamma.
and had to compete
I'm hoping
with the
you can tell me more
unnatural
about the swamp.
attractions of rotting
Gamma
flesh.
and the
The
Exodus.
divine lioness
I'll tell you everything I know.
welcomes them.
Just ask.
This is an omen for your own return.
Can
to
you
the
tell me
path
more
of
about
what is
Clormor?
right and good?
Unfortunately, I don't know all that much
that
about
it
it.
is never
It's a
too
very
late.
grim place at any rate. The moor itself is muddy and disgusting. Beautiful plants are sure to be few and far between.
Are there any dangerous creatures there?
I've heard that it's full of giant spiders. There are even supposed to be drowned corpses and ghouls there, so I'd be careful.
What can you tell me about Warunk before the liberation?
By the Dark Mother, a lot has happened since Metropolitan Yarkon and his Rondrians kicked the necromancers out. The undead dragon Razazar ruled here for many years and rebuilt the whole upper town. He is said to have had a splinter from Borberad's demon crown. He paved the roads with skulls and built a huge golden pyramid on Moloch Mountain. People say that the dragon was killed in battle in the west when he attacked the imperial city of Gareth. Apparently, he killed half of the Warunkians in order to raise their corpses as undead soldiers for the attack. And that was only a fraction of his army.
Gareth, you say the city was almost completely destroyed in a war. Better than years of occupation like we had here.
Over a dozen years, then came the thunderstorm, the chariot of the goddess of war Wanderer. Her lightning bolt must have lit up the whole sky. Then Moloch Mountain exploded, and debris rained down all over the city. Everyone thought the day of liberation had come, but the Rondrians took their own sweet time about it. Long enough for the Council of Necromancers to settle in, and also for the Soul Collector.
The
The Soul
Metropolitan has
Collector,
decreed.
a mighty servant of the
Whosoever
archdemon
backs or
Thargunitov.
communicates with demons
It is said that
shall
he rips your
burn.
soul out if you get too
Whoever
close.
wears their symbols
city.
or speaks their
Afraid of
language
the nightmares
will
worse,
lose their
because they got
sight.
even worse while he was
Whoever
in power.
protects their
Is it true that he
servants
still has the
or their
Thargunitov
works
splitter from the
or
demon crown?
conceals such
No
from the
idea,
Neons
but there's simply
shall
no
be
stopping
hanged by
demons,
the neck
and the Soul
until
Collector is
dead,
powerful.
Dead.
What exactly
Blessed
distinguishes
be
a
Rondra,
metropolitan from a
divine
normal?
lioness.
The Metropolitan is the leader of the Rondrians here, a very powerful man, people say. Yarkon of Turyalev is a veteran fighter, a real hero, but pretty strict. Falk is his deputy, but he serves the goddess of war, Wanderer, like
Here,
all the other
Warunkians!
Rondrians. And
In
like the other
Rondra's
Rondrians, he
name,
should fight
praise
honourably
the
and
city
protect the people
guard.
from evil.
She was
If you want to know
merciful
more,
to
you
those
should ask
who
a
wanted to
Rondrian.
take from the armory food intended
I
for
think
all.
I have a rough idea.
For to err is to be human.
What was this Exodus
And
you
their
mentioned?
courage does
Have you
them
seen the yellow
credit.
symbols on the
Yet
houses?
forgiveness,
They mean danger,
Warunkians,
plague.
forgiveness
No one knows what kind of plague it is, but it's
truly
been raging for months
divine.
now. When it got really bad, and even our benevolent Margrave Sumadan wanted to throw the sick out of the city, this preacher showed up. He called himself Gamat. He had a talisman which couldn't heal people, but could at least ease their suffering a bit.
Here, Warunkians.
And he led the sick out of the city?
The
Why did they
Metropolitan
follow
has
him?
decreed
Only death
that from
awaits
this
them out
day
there,
forth,
at best.
whomsoever
That's what I
makes
said too,
unfair
and stayed here.
speeches shall
But
be
he told the
punished
people that
with
redemption
12
awaited them in
strokes of the
Clormor.
cane.
Salvation
If
from Mishkara's
they do
caprice,
so
he called it.
publicly,
And my
they will
poor Rio
receive
went with
3
him.
times 12
Maybe I should have
strokes of
stopped
the
him.
whip.
But
However,
Rio was so
those
beautiful,
found to
with
be
all his
obstinate
faith and all
and
his passion.
incorrigible
I just had to
will
let him
lose
go.
their tongues.
Then I'll be on my way.
Would you do me a favour?
When I see your Rio, I'll tell him that you are waiting for him here.
Thank you. See you soon.
Here, Warunkians. The Metropolitan has decreed.
Back in.
those Rondrians. Finally someone's cracking down around here.
Those assholes in the guard slaughtered everyone who wanted to get the food from the armory and spread it around.
Though
Back there in the alley, that shadow. There, in the window. And there, in
Warunkians, keep your
Yesterday, the
city
cartel went out on
clean.
another foray.
Whoever
I saw
kills
my
a
neighbour
dozen
get later
undead
with
rats
his
and
meat
delivers
cut in
them
his
to the temple
wasn't
shall
breathing
receive
good.
an entire bowl of goods. Be noted, a good character witness for the deed must be named.
I think that's Chiron.
That's Chiron.
free city. Freed of hope, maybe.
Chiron thought long and deep about the events on his way to the Clawmore. What did the powerful sorceress Azaril want from his sister of all people? What had Falk meant when he had spoken of the dark side of the magical gift and the awakened as he lay dying? Chiron could only find the answer in the mysterious preacher who had once led the sick and ailing from Warung and was said to reside in a village called Fernfield. A man named Gamat.
sure showed them. Thanks.
Rio of Warunk?
How do you know my name?
Rika mentioned you.
Oh no. Does she still think of me?
She said you were her lover. And she seems to miss you very much.
Listen, she completely misunderstood. I am not her lover.
You followed the Exodus because you have the plague, right?
Honestly? No. I only acted like I was one of them. I wanted to be with my Latika.
I see. And who is Latika?
The most beautiful woman in the world. She is one of the chosen, you know?
What do you mean, chosen? And what are you doing here, anyway?
Latika was chosen to enter paradise. And I'm gonna follow her soon. That's why I milk the spiders here.
You milk spiders?
We make jewelry from the spider silk. For the holy man's great ceremony, this eases the transition to paradise.
Who's Latika?
Well, Latika's the reason why I'm here. I love everything about her. She followed the holy man into the swamp, and I joined them. I left everything for her, including Rika, another girl in Warunk. And now, as one of the chosen, Latika has gone to paradise, and every day I pray that I might follow her.
What's this about a holy man?
His name is Gamut. He works great wonders.
A holy man? Really?
He's a savior. He eases the suffering of the chosen, and when they are finally ready, he leads them to paradise.
What kind of paradise?
Paradise is a place of eternal bliss. Gamut has already been there, so he can judge who is ripe for transition.
Couldn't this holy man find anyone braver than you for the milking?
I volunteered. I wanted to impress him and Ulev. Ulev is my beloved Latika's father.
Not the best idea.
You know, it's not easy when you're not among the chosen. I have to convince Ulev somehow.
And that's why you need the spider silk?
Yes, but to be honest, I think I could use a little help.
What's in it for me?
Well, maybe I can help you somehow. In the swamp, I mean.
I'm looking for 2 women who traveled to Fernfield.
In an elegant carriage. They were there. Ulev would know more.
Guess I'll go see Ulev then.
You give me some spiderwebs, and I'll give you the password to get past the guard then. Take the rope bridge to the caverns in the northeast. Reuben used to say that the best spiderwebs can be found there. But that was before the beast ate him.
See you later.
Fantastic! You got the spider's webs. Soon I'll be together with my Latika.
I really have to get going. Like I said, I'm looking for someone.
No problem. When you get to Fernfield, just repeat the password. The test is ours. The grace is mine.
Thanks, Rio.
When you get to Fernfield, talk to Ulev, the village headman. I'm sure he'll help you.
I really have to get going. Like I said, I'm looking for someone.
When you get to Fernfield, talk to Ulev, the village headman. I'm sure he'll help you.
See you later.
Halt, stranger!
The test is ours, the grace is mine.
How do you know our password? Talk!
What's going on here? Who is this stranger?
I'm a friend of Rio's. He said you'd be able to help me.
Then welcome, stranger. What can we do for you?
2 women were here, and I need to know where they went.
I understand. You want the community to help you. And community is a valuable thing to have in a treacherous swamp, isn't it?
Yes, of course.
And in a community, everyone does something for the greater good.
So what do you want me to do?
Make yourself useful to the community. The next time the Holy Man visits the Life Spring, he will reward you.
What is the Life Spring?
The Life Spring. I'm sure you saw the pillar in the sky.
Hard not to, but what happens there?
The chosen enter paradise. Whenever that happens, there is a great ceremony in which the Holy Man leads them there.
How is one chosen?
The road is full of pain. It all starts with red bumps and pustules that steadily turn darker, becoming the deepest black. A raging fever follows, and, in some cases, a wheezing cough.
Sounds like the plague in Warunk. In the end, you become weak and die.
The weakness is a sign that the mind wants to leave the body, This is a very important time. Those who have borne the burden thus far can now join the Chosen. The Warunkians die because no one revealed that to them, and because they have no life spring. But Gamut knows the right time, and names the Chosen. He shows them the way to the life spring, and thus they go directly to paradise.
And you really believe that?
We do not force anyone. But, believe me, it is more reasonable than it might seem.
This Gamut, did he really cure you all of the plague?
We are blessed. The scars mark the bodies of the Chosen. Gamut, the holy man, has revealed this to us. The ignorant call it an epidemic, but we know that the burden of the Chosen will be rewarded with paradise.
And what's your role in all this, Ulev?
I help. I lead the community, while Gamut watches over our souls.
And why did the community end up here, of all places?
This is a good place. Even the mighty Elhanians settled down here.
You mean the Elhani? The ancient people with the powerful sorceresses able to move entire islands by their will alone. A traveling salesman once told me about them.
Yes, an old people who knew much about many arts. They ruled a great empire, and are said to even have had peace treaties with the goblin hordes.
Until the Rondrians subjugated them and drove them off.
As may be. To this day, the swamp still spits up old shards and debris they once left behind. But nothing of importance.
I've heard that you have a daughter named Latika.
Yes, Latika is my daughter. She is doing well.
So what do you want me to do for the community?
There is an important ceremony coming up at the Life Spring. We urgently need more wood for the masks.
You want me to prove myself by chopping wood?
There's almost nothing but demonic wood in the swamp. You will understand that the Holy Man does not want to endanger the souls in their transition to paradise. We have already lost half of the village. The ruins are completely soaked with the swamp's evil influence. In the west, on the other side of the palisade, we dare not go there. There are too many undead. The drowned corpses are exceptionally dangerous. But there are still some carts stuck in the mud that we use to move from Warunk. Their wood is new enough to use.
Then I'll just be getting on with it.
If you come back with unspoiled wood, we will all look for traces of your two women. I will see to that myself.
I've heard that you have a daughter named Latika.
Yes, Latika is my daughter. She is doing well.
Why don't you just take demonic wood? Can't be that bad.
Firstly, because Holy Gamut says so. And secondly, because I can tell you stories that would make your blood run cold.
So, let's go.
It all started when we arrived here with our carts. An orphan girl was with us. Her one arm was scarred, and with the other, she clung to her wooden lion. Someone had whittled her that lion out of swamp wood. Now we know that that wood was demonically contaminated. The wooden lion began to run and jump.
So happy to
the girl was happy.
chosen.
She laughed for the first time since she was scarred. We thought it was a good omen for our trip.
But
that night we heard screams. We ran over to the girl's camp. She was trying to shake the lion from her body. It had become hungry for meat. It took 3 men to pull the wooden beast off the girl. Then the girl's forearm tore off, and the lion escaped into the darkness with its spoils.
do you have any more stories about this wood?
Oh yes, many. Listen. Stopped under a weeping willow, the mules refused to go on. Borkar was a coachman, a good man with the whip. He spoke to them, petted them, but they would not move. Finally he whipped them. The animals simply would not go on. Borkar whipped and whipped. The mule's hide split open, and the whip tore bloody wounds. Later, Borkau cut himself on his knife as he cleaned the mule's hooves. It was just a small cut.
Is that it?
The next morning he could not find his whip, so he drove the mules with a willow switch. But again they stopped. He started to yell at them, but then he began to gasp for air. The willow was strangling him. He tried to remove it from around his throat, but he could not get a grip on it. It had crept under his skin. It had tasted blood.
Truly scary.
Yes, I find these stories too scary myself, to be honest.